So, as expected, although, if I want to be really pedantic, a day late, when we got the announcement for the On the Horizon broadcast, it said, in a week from now, you'll get the full schedule. It's been 8 days, Aaron. 8 days. No, it's not a problem. I don't see any reason for it not to have been ready for yesterday, but it really doesn't matter. We got the agenda for the broadcast. I'm going to gloss over, though, briefly. For those of you who don't know, next week they're doing a big live stream. It is a Ghost Ship Publishing live stream, but it will contain a notable amount of information directed at Deep Rock Galactic, directed at Deep Rock Galactic itself, and like what they've been working on with it and what's upcoming. Although a majority of the segments are dedicated to things that are being published tangentially to Ghost Ship. So that includes Ghost Ship Publishing itself with the games that they are publishing, as well as Mood Publishing with the board game, the Deep Rock board game. So that covers that. And like I said, I'm going to gloss over this main bit because it goes into more detail below, and it's actually more helpful. There's no point reading this. This is just thumbnail fodder, really. So thank you guys. Anyway, hello miners. There's just under a week until we go live on October 5th at 14 o'clock Central Eastern Time, which is 1 PM for us. And like I said, I'm not going to be here, which means we won't be live streaming the live stream. That shouldn't be a problem, though. For Ghost Ship Publishing On the Horizon, our big broadcast to talk about all things Ghost Ship. Leading into that, 2 bits of news. The demos for Deep Rock Galactic Survivor and Spell Rogue are officially live. We'll be talking more about both of them during On the Horizon, and you can find links to the demos down below. Now, the Survivor thing's a bit more prominent. Obviously, it's tied to Deep Rock, which means it's more tied to us. So that is actually live. But the Spell Rogue thing is less prominent by choice, it almost feels like. They really haven't talked about the fact that this was happening. It was a surprise to me that it's actually live. I did not expect that at all. So that is interesting. Okay, agenda time. Here's what we'll be talking about next week. At 14 o'clock, welcome from Soren and Mikkel. They just say hello and get things going. That's only 10 minutes, obviously. Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is almost here at 14:10. We're happy to share that DRG Survivor will be part of Steam's next Oktoberfest. Steam's next Fest, October 2023. I mean, look, put them together, get Oktoberfest. Plus, the game has got an official release date that we'll announce live on the stream. Fair enough. I think a lot of people are excited about Deep Rock Survivor. Naturally so. It's the first spin-off of Deep Rock Galactic. Unless you count the board game, which I think you could. I'd love to see a digital version of the board game still. And at 14:25, Spotlight on Spell Rogue, the other game that is actually close to being done. Spell Rogue is going to be part of Next Fest. I don't know what Next Fest actually is. It makes me feel weird saying that as well. We'll take a look at the game and also give a sharper idea on when you can expect a release date. Fair enough. I mean, the demo's live anyway, so people can play it and give feedback, so that's good. Personally, Spell Rogue doesn't interest either of us at all. So that's a bit unfortunate. Oh well. Updates from the Dark Swarm devs. That's good, actually. I'm interested in that. We'll hear from Bitfire Games and what they've been up to and the latest developments from this co-op tactical shooter. No mention of release date, as that is expected. They said it's when they first announced Ghost Ship Publishing and announced the 3 games, this was back in the anniversary stream, actually, still this year. They said that Dark Swarm was the earliest in development by far, and it would be a really long time until we actually got any kind of... A really long time people get their hands on it, for sure. But it's still nice it's going to be mentioned or covered, with the same amount of time dedicated to it as the other 2 games. In fact, what's getting a little bit more time is actually the new game picked up by Ghost Ship Publishing. Expect a live premiere of the trailer for the 4th game from Ghost Ship Publishing. Hope you like dinosaurs. Well, there you go. It's not a Deep Rock spin-off. Well, could be. Imagine if it was. Something about dinosaurs. Whatever it is, I'm sure it'll at least be interesting. I mean, it is obviously interesting to us that they have another game that they picked up. That's not that we are inherently actually going to play any of them. I would definitely like to be able to play Dark Swarm when it comes out, but we are at a base level intrigued by anything that Ghost Ship decides to do. So it's exciting. 15:15, hands-on with Deep Rock Galactic, the board game's new expansions, and the PS5 Special Edition. Now that the Kickstarter for these expansions is live, we'll crack open some samples of the biomes and Space Rig packs for a hands-on look at what they bring to the table. We'll also take a quick look at what's in the box for the PS5 Special Edition of Deep Rock Galactic. Well, that's all fair enough. I mean, I thought they might be playing, like, the game. I mean, they're not exactly. They're just sort of just showing everything off. And also the same with the PS5 Special Edition. Doesn't interest me particularly. The board game, I mean, I want to play it, and I will definitely play it if it's once it becomes very straightforward to order and receive it. But until then, it's not particularly on my radar. Obviously, the PS5 Special Edition is the least relevant thing possible to do with Deep Rock for us. An Xbox Special Edition, a physical edition for Xbox, would be of great intrigue. But you know, I care about PlayStation even less than I care about PC. Now, I do care about PC a certain amount, despite not playing on PC. And at 15:30, our plans for Deep Rock Galactic and Ghost Ship Games. Last but certainly not least, we're finally ready to share an update on Deep Rock Galactic and what we've been working on over here. Thank God. Not that it's been an insane amount of time since Season 4, but it's about time for us to be able to start looking ahead. But that'll be all at 16 o'clock, 4 o'clock, which would be 5 o'clock for us, I believe. No, sorry. Opposite, 3 o'clock. Soren and Mikkel wrap things up by performing a musical number and dance routine before getting on 2 white horses and riding into the sunset. That's great. A note on the board game. We said it before, but Deep Rock Galactic, the board game, isn't being developed by Ghost Ship Games. The whole thing's been developed externally by Mood Publishing. It's not our project. We've been busy working on other stuff over here. Just want to underline that as we keep seeing some confusion about it online. And that's going to keep up. That's not going to change, unfortunately. People are going to keep getting confused. It's going to, you know, people who are dead set on actually hating on the game, like actual haters for Deep Rock Galactic, which we are not. I want to make that clear. We're just objectively not, but there are haters. The people who would dive into Steam comments. In fact, I'm sure I'll be able to find them here, although I'd rather not just outright show people's names just for the sake of making fun of them. You'll find people in like the Steam discussions, for example, just saying "dead game" and that's it, or "dead game, no content," things like that. These are the type of people who are not going to take note of the fact that Deep Rock Galactic Survivor is not being developed by Ghost Ship. In fact, I would imagine they go so far as to say that all of the published games are being developed by Ghost Ship, and that's why Deep Rock is supposedly not getting as much content as usual, which is true. It's less overall over the periods of time that it's taking, but that's another discussion. What I do want to touch on before I go is actually the fact that, yes, there's only one segment dedicated to Deep Rock itself, but it is the longest segment, and that's why I believe this is going to be. It's going to be a considerable and a very intentional draw. Obviously, they want to put the spotlight on the other things, but there's a reason why they're dedicating the most amount of time to Deep Rock Galactic itself, because they know that's where most of the audience lies, and they know that's what most of the audience cares about and will always care about. So it's very nice to see that it's getting actually a quarter of the time of the live stream. Nothing else actually scratches that. I think the closest is actually the new game, which is a 20-minute segment. I think that's the longest one. Yes, it is. And it jumps up to half an hour for Deep Rock Galactic itself. So that's nice to see. In terms of what we're expecting from that segment, I would say actually more than I originally thought. I would say I'm still hedging my bets on getting at least the amount of information that a roadmap would give us, plus a little bit something else. I don't think a release date. I think we're absolutely going to get the quarter. I think because it's either going to be Q4 this year or Q1 next year for Season 5. But obviously, given how they're talking about it, it's quite ambiguous. There are obviously discussions going around about how perhaps different direction is needed. I can see a timeline where we get some kind of information on some kind of update that is actually not season focused. I mean, that sounds quite extreme, but you, for example, take the secret third thing, which I believe is just a dance routine. It's just a joke, and I don't think it's actually going to happen. But if there is anything real there, I would say it's not actually going to be at the end. It's going to be stored within the Deep Rock thing. I can imagine something surprising coming out of the actual Deep Rock segment. So I think we should be looking forward to that. I also expect, I expect that information, the roadmap equivalent information +1, as well as some kind of visual. I'm kind of expecting a first teaser, in fact, even if it's an extra early one, maybe even just concept art, or possibly if the next update, whatever it is, season or not, contains the perk overhaul that they've been discussing for so long, which it should. I can see them sort of shoving off perhaps some of the ideas they had for that, even if they're not set in stone. So that's sort of where I'm at. Okay, I want to stop this video before it gets to 10 minutes, because this is really just a schedule. Obviously, there'll be much more focused content on this next week, mainly the podcast. Although I think someone will cover the actual direct Deep Rock news in the form of video. But yeah, obviously we're going to be talking about this soon, and that's all. And that'll be all for this week, actually, because we're not going to get any more news this week. I mean, they're building up to something big next week, so it's going to be dry for a couple days, but then it's going to take off. Either way, you can expect a video tomorrow of some description, something to do with Poles. Not Poland, though. Okay. Thanks for tuning in, of course. If you enjoyed this, please make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to stay on top of everything Deep Rock Galactic, including news, patches, and behind-the-scenes information, then you can click the bell as well. It might benefit you. It'll benefit me, and I'm cool. So come on. Anyway, thanks again. Take care, guys.